CHBC verse of the day.
We come now to Matthew 4:23. The end of Matthew 4 then is a summary of Jesus' healing and so on. And then on into chapter 5 down to verse 20, which is the opening part of the Sermon on the Mount. And I want us to concentrate on that last verse, verse 20 of Matthew 5. Jesus says, "For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven." Now, this is a very searching verse, I think. I know that we're familiar with the Pharisees and the hypocrisy that often characterized them. But at that time, they were the strictest, the most puritanical of the Jews. And the very idea that one could live more righteously than they, I think when Jesus first said that, it must have sounded absurd. When Jesus first suggested it then, nobody thought it was even possible. But there is a way into the there is no way into the kingdom unless our righteousness exceeds that of the Pharisees. And the answer to that conundrum then, I suppose it's twofold. On the one hand, there is justification by faith, in which the righteousness of Christ becomes our righteousness. Christ's righteousness becomes ours. And then on the other hand, there is the whole matter of sanctification, which involves a righteousness that is more than skin deep. Then it goes to the very heart, and that ought to characterize every true believer. So Matthew 5:20, unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you'll certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven.
CHBC verse of the day.
We come now to Matthew 5:21 to 42, carrying on then with Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. I want to pick out those two verses, verse 29 and 30. Jesus says, "If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell." These are, again, searching and demanding verses. Having spoke about the law and the fact that it is still to be maintained under the new covenant, the Lord proceeds to expound certain parts of it. So in verses 21 to 42, he looks at murder, adultery, divorce, oaths, and the what's called the lex talionis, the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. And he goes on to speak about love for enemies at the end of chapter 5. So what he says in verses 29 and 30 applies in particular to the law about adultery, but it has also got a more general application. Self-denial is necessary in order to avoid sin. Very striking is his picture, which I don't think is to be taken at all literally, or literalistically we might say, but it does demand then a radical willingness to deprive yourself of what may seem to be something legitimate. Certain books, certain films, for example, will best be ignored by some Christians.